I have to be smart about taxes because taxes gets paid with money, right? That's rhetorical. You got to pay your taxes with money. Well, where does the money come from? For most people, it's your time. So when you start equating taxes to time, not taxes to money, now all of a sudden, maybe it becomes more important to you because taxes is taking time away from you. Taxes is taking time away from the things you love to do. So if you want to do more of those things, if you want to do more of the things you love to do, one way you can do it is by paying less taxes. Now, how do you do that? Education. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Freedom Factory, back for another episode of this podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me week after week and sharing this out with others. I know you guys are doing that. I appreciate that. I appreciate you telling other people where you're getting some of your knowledge from, because the whole purpose of this is empowering people, impacting people to get on their path to freedom. Right? That's why it's called the Freedom Factory. So this week, we are going to be talking about a subject that I don't think I've ever talked about before, and that is knowledge, gaining knowledge. You've heard the saying, knowledge is power. Well, I have a weekly Zoom that I do. In fact, I'll drop the Zoom link in the chat here so that anyone that's hearing the podcast can join us live. It's happening right now, Mondays at 8 p.m. We may start doing a little earlier because we only do it for 30 minutes and it seems like we run out of time each week. But Monday at 8 p.m., we do something called the Freedom Meetup. And it's where people just like you, in fact, a lot of the people that listen to this podcast are getting on, and we discuss topics from week to week. And it's a way for you to interact with me, for me to be able to share some content, but also for you guys to execute on what I'm asking you to do. And then the next week we talk about it. So the reason I've brought that up is two or 3 weeks ago, I asked the group to go educate themselves on this new tax bill that has been approved. It's referred to most commonly as the big, beautiful bill. Love it or hate it, it is passed. There are some downsides to it, in my opinion, but there are some upsides to it. And as a business owner, if you're not a business owner, you should be. And for the rest of you that are business owners, you need to be aware of what this bill can do for you. Okay. So I told them a little bit of the things that I liked about the bill. And then I could tell that a lot of them were not familiar with it. Now, this bill passed, I think, July 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, July 3rd. So this was like a week or so after the bill passed. I asked them about it. Well, not that many people even knew about it yet, it's okay. But then I gave them 2 weeks to go research. We got back on last Monday and I asked them, would someone like to tell me how they're going to apply the big, beautiful bill in their tax strategy this year? Crickets. Absolute crickets. And I had to pause and just come back to them, and we had to talk it through. And what it boiled down to is the majority of them, if not all of them, just had not taken the time over the 2-week period of time to really dive into this thing. They didn't invest the time. And I told them, like, I can share with you the greatest ideas and the greatest things but if you don't execute on it, like, ideas are worthless. Execution is where the value is. Doing the do is where the value is. And so we're going to meet back again on Monday night, and we're going to see who went out. And I'm not saying you got to be an expert at it, but at least know enough to know how you could take advantage of it. In fact, I learned some more stuff today about the big, beautiful bill that we may take advantage of. The point is for this podcast, knowledge is power. And not a day, not a week, not a month should go by where you are not becoming a little bit better, 1% better every day. What that will do for you is massive in the long run. If you're getting 1% better, just a little better every day. People in the social media world are all about being an influencer. Well, yeah, if you're a celebrity, that's what has given you the influence. But in most of our worlds, we're not celebrities. You have to become like a micro influencer with your network. How do you do that? You do that by sharing information with other people that they don't know, being a little bit ahead, one step ahead. I love the saying, in order to lift someone up, you have to be standing on higher ground. Doesn't mean you got to be standing on the mountain, because then you can't reach down to the bottom, right? Just a little higher. You don't have to be a tax expert. You just got to know a little bit more than the people around you. And all of a sudden, in their eyes, you do become an expert. You do gain influence. And as you gain influence, it's extremely powerful to build a business. And so the message for all of you is dedicate the time to study in areas that maybe you're not that excited about. Like, guys, taxes is not, it's not an exciting subject. It's not something that I derive enjoyment from, right? However, I have to be smart about taxes because taxes gets paid with money, right? That's rhetorical. You got to pay your taxes with money. Well, where does the money come from? For most people, it's your time. So when you start equating taxes to time, not taxes to money, now all of a sudden, maybe it becomes more important to you, because taxes is taking time away from you. Taxes is taking time away from the things you love to do. So if you want to do more of those things, if you want to do more of the things you love to do, one way you can do it is by paying less taxes. Now, how do you do that? Education. So that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to take different areas and I want you to become just one step ahead of your network. I want you to stay one step ahead so that you, in conversations, can look like the influencer. You can share this information. They will look at you as the expert, and it will, when you are ready to do business with them, it will carry more weight. Here's another thing it does. Education allows you to ask better questions. Questions is how we learn. And the way I illustrated it with these guys, because I was a little shocked that they didn't do what I asked them to do over a 2-week period of time. And they can't tell me you were too busy. That's bull. I asked them, who's responsible for your health? Is your doctor responsible for your health? And they're all like, no, I'm responsible for my health. And I'm like, yeah, now what's the only way you're going to be able to get the health that you want? Are you just going to trust people? No, because then that means you're making them responsible. You have to educate yourself. You have to educate yourself enough so that you can then go to people who you respect, who have knowledge, and you can ask questions. And by their response, many times you will find out if you're talking to the right person or not. If you go to a doctor and you ask a question and they don't know what the topic is or what that is, and most importantly, they're not willing to figure it out, you may need a different doctor. Okay? So when it comes to taxes, are you just trusting your CPA? Are you just trusting your tax person? Like that's what I pay them to do, so that's what they do. That would be like saying, well, I pay the doctor, so that's what I do. No. So how do you flip the script? You educate yourself enough so that when you do talk to your tax person, you can have a set of questions. And if they can't answer those questions, you may start wondering if you're in front of the right person. You need to ask questions until you find the people that you're comfortable with, that knows what they're doing and is giving you the most value. This is getting 1% better. It puts you, it helps in so many ways. Not only does it help you become an influencer to others, because influencers just, if someone, the way I describe being an influencer is if someone's asking you questions, if someone wants your opinion, you're an influencer. Okay. And so by educating yourself in certain areas, people will want to know. And that means they have influence over you, right? And in the world of sales, in the world of business, the more people that we have influence over, the better. That means they're going to be buying our products, buying our service, all right? Because we are giving them valuable information. We're making their lives better. So my challenge to all of you is, even if it's a subject you don't really know much about, educate yourself to the extent where you can ask the right questions. Another one that I think about, and this one might surprise some of you, is something like cryptocurrency. Or even let's forget cryptocurrency, because that one still is the wild, wild west, even though it's becoming more mainstream, like very mainstream. Let's just talk about stocks and owning stocks. So many people are clueless when it comes to the stock market, companies, owning stock, what companies to own, why to own. And it's for one reason: they have not taken the time to educate themselves so that they can ask the right questions, period. And so what I would tell all of you is, if there's an area of your life that I would just say from a health standpoint, a business standpoint, tax standpoint, income standpoint. I'm not talking about all these different random things. This podcast is about business. This podcast is about network marketing. It's about helping get you guys on the path to financial freedom. So in that realm, those are the areas that you need to be educating yourself so that you can ask the right questions to the right people, so that you can get on the path that you need to be. And in the process, by you educating yourself so that you can ask the right questions, by you educating yourself, people in your network, when the subject comes up, you will be able to contribute to the conversation. You'll be able to contribute content to the conversation that will blow your friends away and your network away. Literally, there are ways for all of you to reduce your taxes by 10 or 15%. And you're just not doing the research, and you're not asking the right questions. There are a lot of you in network marketing that are struggling with bridging product sales to building a team and building a business. And I can tell you that bridge is very, very short if you become an influencer, if you become educated in the industry, in business, and how money works, and how you guys, it is not hard to build a team if you will apply the things I am telling you in this podcast. You simply become an influencer. You become someone that other people look to for advice. And then when you offer them a solution, and that solution being your opportunity, a lot of times they will take you up on it. And if they don't, they will be watching. And at some point, they may take you up on it, because what are you doing? You're getting a little better every day, right? A little better every day. That's what you want. The power of compounding growth is what this whole podcast is about. Learning a little bit each day about business and taxes and investing and network marketing makes you an expert in this. The power of compounding, guys, is and it can be any other things too. Like there's certain skills that you may want to learn that will help you in becoming an expert in your field. And I want all of you guys to focus on the habit of investing in yourself every day. Most of us call this personal development. And when you think of personal development, sometimes, that falls into this category of just, some people think of personal development as like hocus pocus stuff, right? Tony Robbins stuff. But in reality, it's just about up leveling your standards. That's what it's about. It's about increasing your standards, that the way you were yesterday or last week is no longer good enough. You have to get a little better every day, improving your standards. So that's about changing your habits. As you change your habits, you will become someone other people look to because they have not changed their habits yet. So don't look for the huge wins. Look for the daily wins, the daily habits. If you show me your habits, I'll show you your future. That is a super simple way to look at this thing. And just know that your consistency is what's most important in this, whether you feel like it or not. So just multitask. Today, I was on a treadmill today, and I was listening to a podcast. Okay, I'm investing in myself, right? I'm learning, I'm educating. You guys are on this podcast, so that's falls into that same category. So all of you that are hearing this are already doing what I'm saying to some extent, but I want you to take it the next step further, right? I want you to, I'm not a tax expert, so I want you to listen to tax experts. I am not a Wall Street expert, so I want you to listen to Wall Street. I want you to know enough so that you can ask the right questions, because if you know enough, you could come to someone like me that isn't an expert, but has a better knowledge of maybe potentially you when it comes to taxes or Wall Street. You ask me the questions and I can give you a response that maybe helps you get on the right path. Asking the right questions gets you on the right path. Okay. And it takes a lot of the fear out of things. When you're around people that are not fearful, like I'm not fearful of taxes. I'm not fearful of Wall Street. I'm not fearful of cryptocurrency. I'm not fearful of investing in real estate. So when you get around people who are not fearful of certain things, then you will be able to really learn and be educated why maybe the fear you had was not really a fear because you couldn't do it. It's a fear because of lack of knowledge. And that's where fear comes from for most people, guys. It's just lack of knowledge. And that's what I'm trying to help you guys understand is knowledge is power. So get the knowledge, get outside of what you're currently doing for work and start to learn some of these other things because it's extremely powerful for you. And just know that this compounds. It compounds over time. So my challenge to you guys is pick a topic each week and dive into it. And then change the topic the next week and do that week in and week out until you can ask the right questions, because that puts you in control. Your doctor's not in control of your health. Your CPA is not in control of your taxes, and your investment team is not in control of your money. Okay. You are, but you have to be able to ask the right questions. If not, they are in control. That is not freedom. That is not what the Freedom Factory is about. That's the opposite. So I hope you guys understand this message. I hope you apply this, get 1% better every day. 1% better every day. Compounding will change you in a rapid period of time. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me this week. We'll see you guys next week. And maybe I'm going to see you in the Freedom Meetup on Mondays at 8 p.m. See ya.